Alright, I'm about to make this video. I feel like I'm thinking too much right now. So let me do it. Let me do what it do. This right here is gonna be about how the weather is kind of extreme and how it's kind of different than what we all remember growing up, especially if you're older, like you were born in 1970 or 80s. But even for my 90s, even for the early 2000s, we all remember weather being a certain way. But now it's kind of more extreme. And there's certain speculation like there's they are controlling the weather. Some type of government is controlling the weather, influencing it. Chemtrail type of things, where you need to understand that at the end of the day, there's only humans here, and yes, there's technologies that we've developed, but sometimes things don't go as far as what you kind of can go, as far as your mind can go with, as far as making up things with your mind that sometimes aren't true, you know? So that's why we got this concept about hell as if there's a place that you can actually burn forever or something like that. We just made our minds up to believe that. That's how the mind can go pretty far. So, and just make up things. So, like, my point is, like, people can't actually totally, off of just developing something that they can use as a machine that's there and how it works, they're able to pretty much put that out and it influence the whole spectrum of how the weather moves. That's when you gotta kind of stop, because things are beyond what we can do, just like things are beyond what our brain can comprehend. But our mind, awareness, things we can kind of notice more than others that some people don't notice, that is kind of, is not kind of, that isn't being helped. Like, you can't help the fact that certain waves of whatever influence, as far as whatever, you only get influenced by things that's by you, right? So there's things outside or beyond this spectrum atmosphere that are closer to us, which gives us certain ideas or like certain attributes to utilize as far as conversation or just how people are feeling emotionally. So, like, you gotta understand that people can't sit there and, if there was actually gonna be a high tide because we're in a certain spectrum of a season as far as where you are, so we can't help stop certain natural disasters. Basically, is what it is, like a natural thing that's gonna happen. Which on a smaller spectrum of natural disaster, it could just be a thunderstorm, or clouds, or pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now where we can talk about things have been affected over time, that's when we can get into pollution and we can get into things accumulating that we've been doing only because this is how we've been taught, as far as just how constructed things go. Like, you throw away things, we gotta constantly use certain plastics and stuff that were developed beyond our control. So, which means things were thought of first to be carried out a certain way, which all together pretty much destroyed us all. Like, well, yeah, destroyed us. What's messing us up, because it's actually killing a lot of us, right? Like everyone said, the stuff that's going on with the food. Everybody knows that little thing. So everybody knows that it's kind of been a little more extreme. But you can look at that like the atmosphere. Like, we've accumulated so much, burning things. Burning certain things. Certain people that have more attributes as far as the certain resources. So as in the technologies they have, is these crazy things that people think they're able to, like, change the weather. Now they have things that have cloud machines and stuff, but they can't actually infuse weather to influence it to sit there and actually go from hot to cold real hard. Like, nah, you're giving human too much power. Most they can do is try to prevent things at this point, because they have to, because their system is so much of a developed something to pretty much stop the problem that the last thing caused and affected, but that new cover up is gonna actually cause a newer problem. It's kind of like been that system, for this whole time. That's the only sense you can make out of it. It's an accumulation of that. But to say that people are literally controlling the damn weather is not actually what's going on. Okay, you need to know, if anything, we control the weather, and like I said, we're small portions, and there's things beyond this atmosphere, like we all can kind of concept. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with big rocks, big circles in the sky that's floating somehow, and you can go to that with the spaceship somehow. No, the most you can perceive is what you see, which is the sun and moon, and how they move, and how we transition seasonal, and why we get certain attributes and ideas and certain ways of thinking or whatever, going about things in certain time periods and stuff. So you need to know, that's pretty much the shit. So, this helped me get my mind real good. I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, so it's just, all it is, y'all, is just the fact that beyond this, there's always gonna be certain interactions or transitions, just like you have many interactions with yourself and others, or even a bug or anything. You need to remember, give yourself more credit than what you kind of think deep things are that aren't even that deep, and light and surface level things that are actually deeper than what you think. AKA, one example is, oh, this time passed by fast, or whatever like that. Or I daydreamed, and that much time passed by. Why do you think that happens? Well, because you have two sides to you, which is the side that is more in your emotions and stuff you can't see, but it's stuff that you reflect on, and then that's the side where you kind of can interact and talk to people. Now, those are two sides to that, but at the end of the day, you're the one that is the one operating, being the one looking at what you're doing, because we all got our own perception, insight. When you go back to yourself, everybody got that observer effect, okay? So that's what it is. And beyond, like I said, beyond this, we always getting influenced, and we making up the little part. Now, what it is, like I said, we're having parts where things are becoming more and more hellistic, which just means too close together. Anytime there's too many things close together in a certain space area, like at a store or something, think about it on a small spectrum. It gets too heated, it gets like too aggravated, muggy, something like that. Same thing for what's going on beyond us. The sun is getting closer, you could say, or the things outside of that is getting too like distant in certain setups, certain arenas, certain areas, certain alignments, where it makes things kind of more heated and the weather's more extreme and stuff like that. But as far as us, we're just experiencing that, plus the fact that the atmosphere is messed up from the accumulation of all the metals and particles that we pay for our tax money for and don't get nowhere, and people get to pretty much experiment out of nothing, and just really mess us up, and blame us for when we lose money, when they the ones that buy all these unnecessary things. So, but anyway, yeah. So the people can't control the weather. Humans are just like me and you. They can come up with things to use, but they can't sit there and control the weather. They don't go no further.